Good morning, students. Uh, Welcome to the seventh term. This is the first lecture of the seventh term. In this, you can see the first topic is optic nerve anatomy. Now, this topic belongs to neuro-ophthalmology, a branch of ophthalmology super specialty, which deals with diseases of the brain and CNS affecting the ophthalmic part, means affecting the eye, as well as uh, local diseases of the uh, eyeball and orbit which affect the optic nerve. Now actually the branch is very important because many life-threatening diseases, they have manifestations in the eye as far as CNS is concerned. As far as undergraduate level is concerned, we will be restricting ourselves to just the optic nerve part uh, affecting the which gets affected by the CNS diseases or the eye diseases. We are not going in details of the tract or chiasma or lateral geniculate body or the radiation or the visual cortex. Lesions of that will not be for undergraduate level. Here we will restrict ourselves to only optic nerve, and the diseases which we will be covering is papilledema, optic neuritis and optic atrophy. First part is of course optic nerve anatomy. Then we'll see physiology and the symptom signs in the next lecture of the optic nerve diseases before starting actual diseases of papilledema. Optic nerve, as you know, is second cranial nerve. It starts from the optic disc. Optic disc is the papilla or the optic disc, which is the visible part of the optic nerve through fundoscopy. So optic disc, second cranial nerve starts from the optic disc and it extends up to the optic chiasma. Total length of optic nerve is 47 to 50 millimeters. It is a backward continuation of the nerve fiber layer of the retina. You know there are 10 layers of the retina. Nerve fiber layer is one of them. They are nothing but of axons of ganglion cells. So there is a ganglion cell layer in the retina which continues as nerve fiber layer. So axons of ganglion cells, they traverse through the retina, enter the optic nerve, and optic nerve is nothing but the axons of the ganglion cells. Fibers of the optic nerve are very fine, 2 to 10 micrometers in diameter, and 1 are millions in number. Roughly it is 1.2 million axons of the ganglion cells. They constitute the optic nerve. The optic nerve is surrounded by meninges like other peripheral nerves. Now, what are the parts of the optic nerve? Optic nerve is divided into following parts. 1 millimeter is intraocular part. Intraocular part is also known as papilla or the optic disc, and this portion of the optic nerve is visible while doing fundoscopy. It is 1 millimeter. Intraocular part continues as intraorbital part. It is 30 millimeter in length. So intraorbital is the course of the optic nerve in the orbit. Third is intracanalicular. Then through via the optic foramen, optic nerve enters optic canaliculus. Optic canal. So this is known as intracanalicular part that extends 6 to 9 millimeter. This is bony part of in which the optic nerve passes through. Intracanalicular part leads to intracranial part, which is 10 millimeter. This particular part of the optic nerve is occupying the intracranial portion. So totally it is around 5 centimeter. If you see intraocular, intraorbital, intracanalicular and intracranial parts of the optic nerve. What is optic nerve head? It is the intraocular part, the part which is inside the eyeball, intraocular part, and which is known as optic nerve head, or it is slightly elevated, so it is also known as papilla, and it is also known as optic disc. Now, optic nerve head is, it passes through the sclera. There is a scleral canal through which the optic nerve passes. So sclera has a perforation which is known as scleral canal. Optic nerve passes through sclera, then choroid, and present in the eye as optic disc. Diameter of the nerve is 1.5 millimeter. The intraocular part from anterior to posterior is again subdivided into superficial nerve fiber layer, pre-laminar part, lamina cribrosa, and retrolaminar part. So these are the subdivisions or subparts of the intraocular part or optic nerve head. I will repeat them again. Superficial nerve fiber layer, pre-laminar part, lamina cribrosa, and retrolaminar part of the optic head. These parts are shown again. This is surface nerve fiber layer part, which is a part of retina. Then there is a pre-laminar part. Here the optic nerve passes through choroid, sclera and choroid, and then there is a lamina cribrosa. Again, there is a scleral canal which is in the sclera, and it has sieve-like perforations which is known as lamina cribrosa, and then there is a retrolaminar region. Then there is a surface nerve fiber layer composed of axonal bundles, nerve fibers and astrocytes, interlimiting membrane of Elsley. It is a thin layer of astrocyte separating it from nucleus. Then there is central pieces of cone. When ILMS of Elsley is thickened, all layers of retina except nerve fiber layer are separated from it by intermediate tissue of cone. Then there is prelaminar region. Main constituents of this region are neuronal cells and astroglial cells. Border tissue of Jacobi astrocyte separates the choroid from the optic. Then proper lamina cribrosa. It is sieve-like structure. Bundles of optic nerve fibers live through lamina cribrosa. Border tissue of Elsley, collagenous tissue with astrocytes. Retrolaminar region is characteristic increase in diameter of the optic nerve from 1.5 millimeter to 3 millimeter. We have seen in the diagram, retrolaminar region, the diameter of the optic nerve increases from 1.5 millimeter to 3 millimeter. And from this part, retrolaminar region, myelin sheath is acquired in this region, and there is decrease in astrocytes. So every axon of the optic nerve acquires myelin sheath from retrolaminar region. What is the clinical significance of this? This myelin sheath can get demyelinated because of inflammation, and this happens in demyelinating diseases like multiple sclerosis that you will have to remove. Also, sometimes patient may have a demyelinated or prelaminar part presents with myelination of the optic nerve. So retina can have a myelinated nerve fiber layer. Again, that is a clinical condition. This I am talking before myelin sheath is acquired normally. Part of the retina may show myelination. This again has clinical significance. This you will have to find out the clinical significance of myelinated nerve fibers. Now, how the ophthalmoscopic optic nerve head looks like. So, ophthalmoscopy is fundoscopy, a mean way to observe the optic nerve head. Either direct ophthalmoscope or slit lamp or indirect ophthalmoscope, we see the optic nerve head. So, how it looks like? It is optic disc. Part of the optic nerve head is seen through the ophthalmoscope. We call it an optic disc. It has two parts. Centrally there is cup and peripherally is neuroretinal rim. So cup part is shown in the diagram. So it is a central cup which is surrounded by neuroretinal rim. Optic disc is pink in color as it acquires the colors of the arteries. Because of the vessels present, arteries present on the disc, optic disc is pink in color. Shape of the optic disc varies, but generally it is oval. Vertical diameter of the disc is more than the horizontal diameter. So the cup is vertically oval. Vertical diameter is more than the horizontal diameter. and size of the disc is 0.86 square millimeter to 0.5 square millimeter. So these normal features of the optic nerve head are very important for you to understand, because based on the knowledge of normal features, you will be able to understand how changes of papilledema occur, changes of optic atrophy occur, changes of papillitis occur or affect the optic nerve head. You must know the normal features. Also, you must know what happens in glaucoma to the optic nerve. To understand that, you have to know what is cup, normal dimensions of cup, what is neuroretinal rim, what is the color, etc. Now, optic cup. Optic cup is funnel-shaped depression in the center of the disc. So, if you see the disc in the center, you will be see the optic cup. Larger. Now, what is the importance of larger disc and small disc? Larger discs have larger cups, and they can be misdiagnosed as glaucoma. For example, myopia. Myopia have large disc, and because of that large cup, and this can be wrongly misinterpreted as glaucoma disc. Smaller discs have smaller cups. So hypermetropic discs are smaller and they have smaller cup, but in that, because cup is smaller, you may think that it is non-glaucoma disc. So that mistake can happen with the hypermetropic disc. So this is total disc. In the center is optic the cup, and surrounding it is the rim. Rim is very important, neuroretinal rim. So it is nicely represented, inner margin of the scleral rim and the cup, nerve fiber layer, disc rims area. Normally cup to disc is 0.3. So if 3 is the cup, 10 is the disc, 3 as to 10, or 0.3 is the cup to disc area, which gets enlarged in glaucoma. But more important is the neuroretinal rim thickness, that is now considered more important in glaucoma. If the neuroretinal rim thickness gets reduced, that is significant of glaucoma. Or neuroretinal rim has notch, focal notching, that is very significant in glaucoma. So here is the neuroretinal rim. So tissue outside the cup which has retinal nerve axons. Inferior NRR is thickest, and then the superior, next in thickness, then is the nasal, and last is the temporal. This is known as Isant rule, which is very important for glaucoma point of view. In glaucoma, Isant rule is broken. Though no longer it follows the thickness pattern of inferior, superior, nasal, temporal, there is a this rule is breached, and then that is highly suspicious of glaucoma. Greater vascularity in the inferotemporal region. Then you have to focus on the retinal vessels. They emerge on the medial side of the cup. Temporal arteries take an arcuate course, and nasal arteries take straight course. You can see that. So the blood vessels are nicely shown here, arteries and veins. Veins show pulsations. Veins are larger in caliber and darker violet or bluish color. Arteries have smaller in diameter and they have central reflex passing through. So arteries, veins show normally pulsations, or if you press over the globe, you can better appreciate the pulsations. That is physiological. Loss of pulsations may indicate early peptide. Arterial pulsations are of course abnormal. Then there is a peripapillary atrophy region. This is also very important to know. There are two zones of atrophy, alpha and beta, which have a significance in glaucoma. Arrangements of fibers in the optic nerve head. Fibers arranging from peripheral part of the retina. They lie deep in the retina. They occupy most peripheral part of the disc. Fibers originating from the central part of the retina. They lie superficial in the retina, and they occupy central part of the disc. Now coming to intraorbital part of the optic nerve. It extends from back of the eyeball to the optic foramina. It is covered by dura, arachnoid and pia. The subarachnoid space around the optic nerve is continuous with intracranial subarachnoid space, Very important clinical application of this particular knowledge is papillary. I will repeat this: subarachnoid space around the optic nerve contains CSF. It is continuous with intracranial subarachnoid space that surrounds the brain. So, continuation of the subarachnoid space which covers the brain and which covers the optic nerve has tremendous significance as far as pathophysiology of papilledema is concerned, that we will discuss in detail in papilledema. Surrounded by the tough fibers of annulus of G, ophthalmic artery and vein enters the nerve inferiormedially 10 mm from the eyeball. So, intraorbital part of the optic nerve around 10 mm has openings of ophthalmic artery and vein. This has significance in retinoblastoma, how that we will talk later. Intraorbital part leads to intracanalicular part. Optic nerve along with meningeal sheaths has a limited space for expansion. In traumatic optic neuropathies, it is most commonly affected intracanalicular part, and compression of the optic nerve most common in this case. Intracanalicular leads to intracranial last part of the optic nerve. It lies above cavernous sinus. Inches diameter, receives arachnoid and dural sheath at the point of entry of optic canal. Internal carotid lies just below and lateral. Medial root of the olfactory tract and anterocerebral artery lie above it. So these are the important anatomical relations of intracranial part of the optic nerve. Now coming to blood supply of the optic nerve. Blood supply of the optic nerve is important in diagnosis of anterior ischemic optic neuropathy or posterior ischemic optic neuropathy. Blood supply of the optic nerve has arterial supply. Surface nerve fiber layer receives peripapillary capillaries derived from retinal arterioles, which anastomose with the vessels of the prelamina. So, extreme surface nerve fiber layer of the optic nerve head receives nutrition from the retinal arterioles. Then coming to prelaminar and laminar region. Prelaminar and laminar region is supplied by short posterior ciliary arteries which form the arterial circle of Z. Retrolaminar part of the optic nerve has intraneural centrifugal branches from central lamina and centripetal contributions from the pial branches of choroidal arteries. This diagram is very illustrative of details of the blood supply of the optic nerve. Then blood supply of the intraorbital. It is supplied by axial and periaxial system of vessel. Venous receives mainly by central vein. Coming to blood supply of intracanalicular part, again it is mainly supplied by central retinal artery and venous drainage is by central retinal vein. Blood supply of intracranial part, prechiasmal artery, branch of superior hypophyseal artery, ophthalmic artery by its collaterals. Venous drainage of the optic nerve mainly by the central retinal vein. Prelaminar region also drains into choroidal veins. So this is the relevant anatomy of the optic nerve. It is very basic to understand the diseases of the optic nerve like papilledema, papillitis, optic atrophy, AION, PIOD. So you must know in details. Next lecture we will continue with the physiology of the optic nerve. Thank you very much. Thank you. हो गया